And many of the center also decided to vote. The latest analysis of the polls show that the turnout was higher in socialist constituencies, and that the center voted because they didn't want to give Sarkozy all full power. Nicolas Sarkozy is the most powerful head of state in the world, in the democratic world, when he controls parliament. There's so many powers. So they wanted to bring him a peg or two a bit, you know, to make sure that he doesn't feel that he has too much of a mandate. And also the French started getting worried about some of the measures concerning taxation, which were announced last week, because already we know they get a clearer picture of the kind of economic policies he wants to start on. And they know that there are tax cuts, but the tax cuts were about 10 to 15 billion euros worth of tax cuts, which will benefit the rich. But in order to compensate for these tax cuts, the government suggested raising VAT, and obviously, it's even been mooted by as much as 5 points. And that would affect the lower paid workers in France. And also a decision not to rise the minimum wage in France last week tended to put in the mind of the lower paid, who were told that they needed to work harder in order to work more, the idea that actually this government is aiming more to favor the middle classes and the well-off, and they probably in that case decided to say, don't go too far in that direction. We know that you want to encourage wealth creation in France and to make France, to cut taxes for the rich, it's true, but don't go too far down that road.
I wonder what France will look like then in say in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years, it will be interesting. I mean, it will. I mean, some of the measures that he wants are very welcome for the French economy, liberalize the French market, the labor contracts, make it maybe a bit, there's a big issue of guaranteeing public services, even type of strike, curbing a right to strike, and allowing rich people to keep more of the money they earn, which is a good thing. And it means that France will become a bit more egalitarian, more unequal than before, because currently France is probably one of the least unequal societies in the OECD. But at the same time, it might be more wealth creation, might attract the rich back to France. And the hope is that maybe there will be a consensus between the two parties, because already Nicolas Sarkozy opening up his government to people from the left, and this time the Prime Minister said tonight that he was hoping that maybe they could work on some of the necessary measures that need to be taken in order to increase the growth potential of France. And one of them will be the reform of universities, granting more autonomy to universities in the near future, which the socialists seem to be ready to cooperate with the government on, and even on the issue of labor legislation, changing labor contract to make it easier for people to hire workers in France, because at the moment many employers are a bit put off by the fact it's very difficult to make people redundant. So I think that we'll probably have, given the fact that the economy is doing quite well now, there will be a momentum, and hopefully higher growth potential in France and a reconciled France in the next few years. Let's hope so anyway.
Jacques Reland, many thanks. Nice to see you once again.
Pleasure.